We understand and experience life through our senses, through touching and seeing and hearing and tasting and smelling. We filter and then process incoming stimuli according to conscious and subconscious memory and prior learning. There's a filter on our senses that decides what to pay attention to and how to process the information. Our filter is aligned with what we believe the purposes of life are. How we filter incoming stimuli determines how we perceive, interpret, and judge the world. In this way, we create belief systems that determine whether our achievements can rise to our aptitude or not. For example, depending on a person's filter, one person will be upset or fearful or frozen by a situation, whereas another person will see the exact same situation as an opportunity to create something greater, to create something better. Use a mind of love to understand and know about our world. Let go of the paradigm that says, I can see the whole context. There is always a more comprehensive way to understand each of our experiences. Now, secondly, we must stop clinging to thoughts and beliefs that pit us against each other. Ignorance and perceptual limits blind us from our aptitude, our ability for cooperation and collective well-being, and thus blind us from our achievement of it. Where we have difficulty loving others is where we have blind spots. And we must look and find ways to resolve these blind spots. Intelligence looks for ways to create healthy connections, and it discerns the difference between emotional reactions and intelligent responses. I'm not saying to connect with destruction or destructive actions. I'm saying the opposite. Connecting with others does not mean connecting with or loving everything about the other person or loving everything that they do. Focus on yourself. You're the one that you can control. Don't destroy connections. You want to build healthy connections and not toxic ones. Look for the place to build the connection with the other person or the other life. Create connections that respect every life that you touch. Third, our perceptions, our beliefs, and our emotions create our actions. If we perceive ourselves to be against others or to be isolated or divisive, then we block the achievement of our aptitude for collective well-being. But if we see ourselves as interdependent and seek solutions that encompass the needs of everyone, we expand our ability to achieve what we are capable of, our aptitude for collective well-being. Number 4, each of us can change the connections in our brain by tracking the incoming stimuli differently. We do what we need to do to change our brain to track the incoming stimuli differently. You can shift the wiring in your brain, the pathways in your brain, to broaden your understanding of cause and effect and of interpretation. And there are several videos on this channel about how to broaden your perception and what that even means. But for now, remember that depending on a person's perception, one person will be upset and fearful and frozen by a situation, and the other person can see the exact same situation as an opportunity. You can look for the potential and purpose in any given moment, rather than being frozen in a moment or frozen in an emotion or frozen in a state of judgment. Fifth, our brains hold the thoughts and perceptions that we have learned and practiced over time. So if we're not paying attention, we can get stuck in limited thought patterns, which become reactive to the environment. On the other hand, when we continue to learn and grow, we tap into more of our aptitude, and we make wiser and more responsible choices for responding to the environment, rather than reacting as if the environment is to blame for our experience. 6, the more comprehensive our awareness is, the more we realize that there is more to factor into the situation than we can ever really mentally understand. Interpret incoming stimuli. Hold it with the understanding that everything has more purpose and meaning than you understand in the present moment. In this way, your brain's endorphins, when you do this, your brain's neurotransmitters, they release endorphins. So you have more endorphins. And that's rather than the cortisol that comes when an event is perceived with anxiety and fear. Perceiving an event with anxiety or fear creates more toxic chemical, which then determines more about how you see. So it's a feedback loop. Number 7, when your brain understands and perceives the world with love, healthy emotional chemicals increase. And you are then practicing a self-reinforcing feedback loop over and over. And that feedback loop becomes more automatic across situations and across events. Be aware that an opposite self-reinforcing feedback loop is also possible. So if you see situations as existing only within your purview, when your purview is that there's no purpose or meaning for something stressful, then you're reinforcing a stressful cortisol-producing chemical pathway in your brain, and you're making those chemicals more durable. You're making that pathway more durable. Eventually, the chemical pathway that you choose becomes the default pathway in your brain. So be careful. You are reinforcing, if you're reinforcing a toxic pathway, you will likely develop an addiction to stressful chemicals and to stressful emotions. Number 8, understand that the world is constantly evolving in alignment with the collective well-being of all life, with or without humans. We humans decide to what degree we are willing to learn and accept our roles in the perfect balance of interdependence. We must understand that the interdependence of all life